So we spent numerous hours researching a 7,500 mile route, researching things to see along that route, campgrounds to stay at along that route, and we made reservations at 22 different campgrounds and made deposits or paid in full on most of them. And then what happens? Fuel prices shoot through the roof. What are we gonna do? Well, stick around if you want to go to a scary spot in our minds, and we'll tell you what we decided to do. All right, so obviously everybody knows fuel prices have gone through the roof. We picked a great year to go up to the New England states and back down to Florida and back over to Arizona. 7,500 mile trip, and fuel prices do this. So when we started making plans for this trip, fuel prices, diesel prices, were $3.50 a gallon. So I have some cheat sheets here, let you know how our mind analyzed the situation. So when we started planning this trip, fuel prices were $3.50 a gallon. Just for the truck, diesel fuel, we budgeted $3,750. That doesn't count the car that she drives behind us. That doesn't count the touring miles we're gonna do as we're out and about. That's just the route, 7,500 miles. Now the prices have gone up. So right now, they're all over the board, but $5.50 is not uncommon. So that makes our budget $5,892. That's an increase of $2,142 just for truck fuel, pulling the coach. They say it could get worse throughout the summer. They say $6.50 a gallon is not out of the question. If that happens, now we jump to $6,428, an increase of $2,678. Crazy. So we started thinking, is it even worth making that trip this year? And we don't know. You know, so our minds started thinking about, well, we made reservations at 22 different campgrounds. What if we canceled this year? So I checked all the cancellation policies, and if we canceled all of our reservations, we would basically give away a little over $400 in cancellation fees. Now that's a far cry from what we're going to pay extra for fuel, right? But it's still giving away $400 some, which doesn't sound very good to do. So that's an option. Then we started looking at shorter trips. You know, we could go up to Cortez, hang out in Colorado, and at $5.50 a gallon, we spend under $1,000. We looked at a lot of different scenarios, shorter mile trips. But we've seen most of those places, and the reason we full-time RV is to see new places, right?
Right, yeah.
So you take that in, because we could blow a year. Then we thought, Diane had this idea, right? So if we did cancel all of our reservations, we can't go next year because we have obligations in Oregon. So next year's out of the question, which means 2 years out. Well, we all know campground fees are going up. So if we looked at our campground fees, and if our campground fees went up 5% a year in the 2 years it would be before we can get back there, they would have gone up pretty close the increase in fuel. So if you think about it that way, we should go. But should we? If we go, maybe there'll be fewer people at the campgrounds. Maybe there'll be fewer people at all the places we want to go see, on the hiking trails, biking trails, museums, right?
Right, yeah.
But then you talk to people and they say, you might not see people from across the country over in Maine and Vermont and New York and Florida, but all the locals that might have been going to the West Coast will be staying local, and they'll be filling up the campground. So it might be just as full as it would be any other way. So I don't know. Then it's a catch-22. What the heck should we do? Well, then we got thinking about it a little bit further. So if you take at $5.50 a gallon and $2,142 more in fuel alone on the truck, you know, that's Our trip is 214 days, and we leave Arizona up through the New England states down to Florida back to Arizona. We're talking 214 days. That averages out to $10 a day. You know, then we get thinking, if we want to save money, we could probably cut down some of our dinners out and go for lunches out. We could save $10 a meal easily, and we go out to eat 2 to 3 times a week for dinners. So there's $30 pretty easy we could save. I might have some snacks I buy a lot of that I could cut back on. A few. So we thought about that too. I don't know, it's crazy. So some other things to help cut back on money. We use Gas Buddy pretty regularly, so we would maybe even use it more regularly now, trying to find all the cheapest places to get fuel. We even looked into a program called Mudflap. Now it's an app you can get on the phone, but Mudflap is pretty much all diesel, no gas, and it's mainly at truck stops. And we don't typically go to truck stops. We're mainly neighborhood gas stations because we figure that truck stops already have an elevated price. So by the time you get a discount off the elevated price at a truck stop, you're paying what you get at a neighborhood gas station, which is where I usually fill up the truck and your car all the time. We very seldom in 9 years on the road have we gone to truck stops. Very few, really. Mainly gas stations. So that's Mudflap. Then there's another program out there, another app you can get, or card, and that's the TSD. And that's supposed to be really good for RVers. But again, that's mainly focused on truck stops. And again, we don't go to truck stops. So, and TSD requires that we give them our social security number. Now, a lot of people do it, and it may just be the way my mind works, but I don't like giving my social security number out. I know it's easy for people to get, but it's just the way my mind works, right? So I didn't want to give them my social security number. And it works for a lot of people. We know people that use it and they swear by it. So that's another option. But there's another option. The Escapees Club has their gas card. So I looked into that. Now, their gas card is a $40 a year fee. But I looked at it, and I kind of looked at our route we're going to take, and I found some pretty good discounts. Actually, in 2 fill-ups, we would pay back the $40. In the 2 stops I found in Tucumcari, New Mexico, and in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2 spots we're going to be at, we would have our money back. Then you got the rest of the route that would be banked. And I also checked the prices on the Escapees card prices to what we would get by looking on Gas Buddy. And sometimes we're saving up to 50 cents a gallon. One place was $1 a gallon over what we found advertised on Gas Buddy. So that's a pretty good saving. So if the decision was to go through with our plans, we'd probably get that card. Hang around, I'll tell you what we did. So, wow, what a menagerie we're going through in our minds, right? Are you crazy up there yet?
It's just your mind.
My mind. I analyze things too much.
Yeah, I'm just ready to go. It's your mind.
Yeah. Well, you know, when this came up, I turned to Diane and I said, "What do you want to do?" And what was your answer? You just said.
I just said, let's go.
Let's go. But anyway, I can't just go. I have to analyze things. I'm going to give you some ideas, you know, why I get thinking about it. So we hit the road in 2012. In 2013, we had a motorhome and a Jeep. We spent $5,010 in fuel on everything. That's traveling and touring.
And that was back to the East Coast.
I don't remember. It was 2013. I think it was okay. Then 2014, with a motorhome and a Jeep, all miles, driving and touring, $53.96. 2015, $4,730. 2016, $3,542. 2017, we went to the motorhome and F-150 pickup. We spent $4,710. And then in 2018, we spent $6,016. That was a bonsai trip from Washington to Kansas, back to Washington, get back on track, researching fifth wheels. And then we went to the fifth wheel, and in 2019 we spent $3,929. That's in the truck and the fifth wheel, and then her CRV. 2020 was $1,461. 2021 we spent $3,736 in the truck and CRV, and that's total dollars spent in our route and touring. And now this year we're planning on a $5,892 truck budget, just the route, and $1,059 in the CRV, just the route. Now, if you're saying to yourself, put the CRV in storage and save that 1,059 miles. So I did some analyzing on that too. And you know, you got storage fees. You want to put a cover on the car probably, so that's $40 to $100 for a cover, plus your storage fees. And I figured it out that if we travel in the car 1,000 miles touring, which we will do far more than that, in 1,000 miles we will have made up the gas we would have burned in the truck, right? So there's no doubt we're going to take the car. We will come out ahead by driving the car out touring than taking the truck. And I know we're splitting hairs. You got wear and tear tires, oil change. I'm not getting that deep into it. We're talking mileage and fuel. So wow, that's crazy. What a year. Everybody's going through this, you know, but we should feel fortunate that all we're worried about is high fuel prices and gas prices. And fuel prices and gas prices are obviously the same thing, but fuel prices and food, and we're not getting bombed. Yeah, so we should feel pretty fortunate that's what we're complaining about. And we still have the opportunity to travel. And we should feel pretty fortunate that we could really do this and not be in a huge crunch. It's more of a principal thing for us spending the money. I mean, there are people that this is simply going to blow their summer. So, I don't know. We had a lot to think about. What are you guys going to do? I'm curious. What are your plans? Have you changed your plans? You know, we thought about too. I told Diane, in this trip we wanted to treat it as a vacation. So the campgrounds we found, we wanted to stay at the nicest campgrounds we could find. We could cancel some reservations at the higher end campgrounds and trying to find campgrounds with lower prices and save, you know, maybe $10 a night, $15 a night. And maybe over the whole route we might save $200 or $300, but I don't know. Again, luckily we don't have to go that deep if we don't want to, but we're curious what it did for you guys. We've been watching a lot of videos and listening to a lot of friends talk about their summers and what this is doing to them. But all right, so long story short, now you've had a chance to spend a little time inside of our minds, or at least my mind. Scary, I told you. And you know what? We decided we're going to go. We're doing it. Unless the prices go up to $7 or if it goes to $7 a gallon, we would probably back out. But at this point, if it goes up to as much as $6.50, and you know, we're in Arizona right now. Gas prices in Arizona are higher than they are going through Kansas and Ohio and partway down the East Coast. Even into Florida, prices are cheaper over there than they are here. So if they went to $6.50 here, they'll hopefully still be cheaper over there. So we're still going to follow through with our route, 7,500 mile route, plus all the things we're going to see. And we went ahead and got that Escapees card. It's in the mail right now. We've been with the Escapees for 10, 11 years. We find it very beneficial for us, campground fees and whatever else. And we are also affiliates for the Escapees. So down in the description below, if you're thinking about becoming an Escapee, maybe just because you want the benefits of being an Escapees or because you want to get this gas card, if you use our link down below in the description, full disclosure, we get $10. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So anyway, there's a link down below. Otherwise, just go become an Escapees member. And we're going to report back on this card. We're going to make sure we check Gas Buddy. We're going to use the card. We obviously get points back on our credit cards, so we're going to pay attention to that too, you know. You get 5% back on a credit card. You got to think about that. So we're going to report back in future videos as we make this trip. Now we're leaving here on May 1st, hooking up the truck. We have a lot of videos to show through this route. So if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe you should subscribe now. Give us a thumbs up, right? Yeah? Okay. I told Diane I'd keep this short. You're probably thinking I lied. Anything you want to say? No. All right. That's it. As always, have a great day.
Happy trails.
Happy trails. And we will see you in the next video. You want to do a second take on this?